All right. I hit record.
Stop smiling so I can start. You ready now? Can I start? Can I shoot my shot? Can I fire my first bullets?
Sure.
All right. Welcome all our faithful viewers to Two Brothers Podcast. My name is Vincent Levitt. Always with me, Malik Patterson. We back at it again for episode I'll tell you later at the end of the show. Oh shit. Well, damn. With that being said, what's up, brother?
It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. I'm gonna take most of the blame on it being me because school gets hectic around this time, especially if you're a senior in college like I am, trying to get internships, trying to apply for graduation, and just do everything that you got to do as a senior and get your life together. It's kind of stressful, but I mean it's fun. I look forward to it. I have really dope professors. So anyway, just giving you a brief reason why it's been a while, plus Christmas shopping, but we are back. So much happened, so much to talk about. Shoot, where do we start? I guess we can start with the NFL and current news. So we didn't record any of the trade deadline, but some of the bigger trades, Juan Alexander, is that how you say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Juan Alexander got traded from San Francisco to New Orleans. That's a plus. He's doing really good in New Orleans. That he actually beefed up that New Orleans defense. Ngakoue was traded from
I believe the Vikings. Traded from the Vikings too.
Because he was with the Jags before the season started. The
Mm-hmm.
Jags traded him to the Vikings for some draft picks. The Vikings traded him to Baltimore. And so what a bunch of people have been doing on the internet, since you can now vote for your Pro Bowl picks, what a bunch of people have been doing has been voting for him to make the Pro Bowl. Because if he makes the Pro Bowl, the Jacksonville Jaguars have to give up like a 4th round pick to the Vikings. Or no. The Vikings have to give up, it's something like that. I think it's
an extra pick.
No, the Vikings have to give up extra pick to Jacksonville. That's where it is.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Because the Vikings gave up a pick to Jacksonville for Ngakoue just for them to trade him again. And so if Baltimore makes the Super Bowl and wins, then they have to not only give up a 4th round draft pick, but and a 3rd round draft pick to the Jets. Not the Jets, the Jaguars. Sorry, I get my sorry teams mixed up. So now I think everybody's going to vote for him to make the Pro Bowl. At least we don't know. I doubt if Baltimore makes the Super Bowl, but they're going to vote for him to make the Pro Bowl just to screw over the Vikings. Which I'm all for because, I mean, I hate the goal anyway.
I'm a little hurt. I don't want to see that happen because that's giving the Jags more ammo. Granted, knowing that franchise, they're going to mess it up sooner or later anyway. So, go Colts.
What else did we miss? So we missed trade deadlines. Free Julio Jones. Who else?
We also missed the this is off topic, but I'm waiting for that later. But you want me to ask you a question about the NFL draft? Did you even expect to see like Julio Jones get traded? To be honest, do you think that's really even gonna happen? Because I've been seeing it a lot too.
If Julio would get traded, well,
they've been winning too many games to tank anyway. So like they're gonna ride this season out.
They're gonna ride this season out, but what does Atlanta have? Like they had that 1 year where they made the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna talk about what happened because I think they get dragged through the mud enough when people bring up Atlanta Falcons. But that was your year. Now you're a whole new team. You don't have Quinn as your head coach anymore. So, like, what are you? And I think just you could drag along Matt Ryan because he got paid. But Julio, I mean, yeah, he got paid a while ago, but he hasn't got big time paid. So why is he still here? Like, release him. Put him on a team that'll actually use him because right now he's essentially building his Hall of Fame career, which he was already doing anyway. But it's a waste of time. It's a waste of talent. Like, it was like watching what's her name, Odell on the Giants before they got Danny.
Right.
Now, I'm not talking about Danny. I think the Giants are headed in the right direction as far as their career goes in the future, with Daniel Jones being their quarterback, because I think he's an actually solid quarterback. Last year it was up and down. This year he's proving, with a new head coach and with a shaky offensive line, which is why the head coach and the offensive line coach got into a fight earlier this week, and the offensive line coach got fired on Wednesday. That's neither here nor there. You didn't hear that rumor from me. That's why I think he's going to be pretty good. He's going to be a solid quarterback, and I like, especially because you brought up the NFL draft, I like the rookie quarterbacks that are in the league right now. Tua's balling out, playing amazing. Justin Herbert is a stud. I wish he had more help. And I think, even though I don't want another black coach to be fired, don't get me wrong, because there's not a whole lot of black head football coaches. Anthony Lynn deserves to be fired, because what has he done for the Chargers? Like, it's just, you gotta call it when you see it, and he hasn't done anything. And I'd rather see Eric Bieniemy get a head coaching job and actually try to do something than watch this horrible disaster of a train wreck and this great quarterback of Justin Herbert have to throw for his life. They won today versus the Jets, of course, because it's the Jets. Justin Herbert, he was 37 of 49 today, 366 passing yards and 3 touchdowns for them to skate by a win versus the Jets, 38-27. But to further onto that point of actually, no, I'll take that back. I'll let you talk about what you wanted to input about Anthony Lynn. And
all I'm saying is you're harping on the man for his recency bias. You're providing a lot of recency bias right now. I'm saying Anthony Lynn did a great job his first year when he came into the league as a rookie coach. He got his team to the playoffs. He did his job. The only thing that didn't work out was the years coming after that, when they didn't do so well in the next season, which is why they got Justin Herbert. But you can't put all the blame on him. There was some injuries. Keenan Allen disappeared. There was, I believe, not Joey Bosa, but the younger Bosa. He didn't perform what everybody expected him to do. There was a lot of failures, not just on him, but that year there's a lot of failures from the whole team as an organization. So, but that tends to happen as a coach, as a player. That sophomore slump does happen.
It was Joey Bosa, because Nick Bosa is on the 49ers.
Oh, see, I was right. Good job, Mason.
But yeah, what have you done for me lately?
There you go.
So that, I'm just saying, I get what you're saying about, but I mean, I can say the same thing about the Eagles. Now, granted, I do not want to let go of Carson. This is his first bad year as a quarterback. This is his first year where he's had where he's thrown a lot of interceptions. Because since he's entered the league as a rookie, from his rookie year, he's had the least amount of turnovers of any quarterback in the NFL from 2016 until this year. This year, he's having a terrible year. He's just giving the ball away. But if you look at the stat record from 2016 until before the season started, he had the least amount of turnovers. So it's not his fault completely. But I am about to call for a coaching change. Get Jim Schwartz out of the defense. I guess we can give Doug Peterson one more year, because he brought them their first ever Super Bowl. So you're always going to be, and you built the statue. So you're always going to be enshrined. You're always going to be forever remembered. You're going to be the greatest Eagle coach to do it. And then second is a toss-up. I don't know. You got Andy Reid. You got previous coaches before that. I don't know. But he's going to go down as the greatest Eagles coach of all time, because he's won a Super Bowl. So that gives him more leeway to fuck up. I'm just saying. I just had to put that out there. But I do believe Eric Bieniemy might get a job this year. After this season, only because what the NFL put into place, which is another thing that we missed, was they tweaked their Art Rudy rule. So for the people who don't really remember, but I know we talked about this before, So what the Art Rooney Rule is, or Rooney Rule for short, pretty much you have to interview a minority coach. If you are an NFL team and you're looking for a head coach, you have to, by law, interview at least one minority coach for the head coaching position. And you have to interview at least one minority coach for the other coaching jobs, such as like office coordinator, such as coordinator, specialist, whatever. Mm-hmm. So now what they're inputting is if that team builds up that coordinator to be in the running for a head coaching job. So let's say, let's take the Kansas City Chiefs with Eric Bieniemy. Andy Reid kind of made Eric Bieniemy who he is now. Granted, he was coaching before that, but he's made him the offensive guru because he's sitting under Andy Reid. And they kind of take turns doing the play calling. So because he groomed him and he wasn't a previous head coach before somewhere else, like at a major level, that means that whenever he gets a head coaching job somewhere else, the Kansas City Chiefs now get a official third-round draft pick. They get like a complimentary third-round draft pick if he gets a head coaching job somewhere else. Now, if he interviews and he doesn't get a job and he stays on the Chiefs next year, then they don't get a draft pick because he's not a head coach. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but the only part that you gotta wonder about is, there is 32 teams in the draft. If you multiply 32 times 3, that's going to be 96. Does that mean the Chiefs are going to have 4 picks within those 3 rounds?
I don't think so. I don't know exactly how the complimentary one is going to work. I don't know exactly. I think that they automatically, I would assume that, let's say, like, if he becomes the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think I think the Chiefs now get the Jacksonville Jaguars 3rd round pick, like if it was a trade, essentially. Okay. Yeah, so I think they just get that draft pick from that other team that they hired that head coach from, instead of like adding another pick, because that would throw off the rounds.
That's what I'm saying. See, you beat me.
So I believe that's how it goes. I didn't fully read this rule. Like I read it, but I skimmed through it, and it was kind of a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I guess we can go on to looking at the current playoff schedule as it stands, unless you have something else you want to implement right now.
Carson Wentz ain't shit. I'm saying it because he had Nick Foles to save his life a couple of years. Now, with that being said, let's look at the Colts.
Has Phillip Rivers pieced together 2 wins successfully that were good wins? Or
we're looking at the roster, right? We're looking at the standings right now for the AFC.
And it's been your defense. It's been Darius Leonard who's been doing that.
You're absolutely.
Rivers is a ticking time bomb. Y'all not making it past the wild card. I was going to give y'all praise, but fuck y'all. No, that's how I feel.
No, because I'm not gonna let that slide. Nick Foles won y'all the championship, but Carson Wentz got the credit. Is that am I right or am I wrong?
No, everybody gave the credit to Nick Foles. That's why Nick Foles has the statue up in front of Lincoln Financial Field. Not Nick Wentz.
Y'all got rid of said statue man for Carson. It's for the future.
Statue man is looking trash. They're 5-5 right now. He's looking terrible.
That 5-5 would look a lot better if the Eagles had that 5-5.
We're still at the top of the division. It don't matter.
By how many wins? By how many wins y'all on top of the division?
By a tie, actually. We're winning by a tie. That's how we're winning. And we're gonna win by that tie.
Just say your division is trash, and I'll take back everything I said.
We have the worst division ever. But you want to know something? Since we're here, I know we were going to talk about the playoffs. I'll give you some time before we do our next podcast to do your research, and I'll give our viewers some time.
It's going to be like shit.
Who has the winningest division in football history? And I don't mean by wins per week. I mean by championship appearances. It is the NFC East.
Wait a minute. Nah. Let me see the research for that one. Let me see the research for that one, because I'm going to give it to the Steelers. I assume they had the most. The Ravens had the most.
They have 6. The Ravens, okay, you want to do it live? We can do this live. we can do this live.
Look what you did, man. You throughout the whole thing.
Cincinnati has 0. Cleveland has 0.
That's their fault.
Baltimore has 2. How much is that? That's 8.
That's 8.
Okay.
Now show the Cowboys because they got the majority of your division.
We can go to the okay. Washington has 2.
Whoa, for real?
Eagles have 1. Giants have 4. Dallas has 5. You want to do that again? Look at the standings. I don't have to go over every single Super Bowl that's been played. Just look at the standings of each division.
I'm gonna look this up for my first, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it.
Team. What division has a Super Bowl? What division has a Super Bowl winner from each team in that division?
You lucky I can't remember if the Chargers won or not. You lucky I can't remember if they won or not.
Chargers don't have one. Okay, so that's 0. Broncos have what? 4 or 3?
Something like
that. Extra one. They have 4. The
Raiders
Chiefs have 2. Raiders have 4. The Raiders have 3.
I gotta do my
Raiders
research.
3. So that's 3 plus the 2 Chiefs. That's 5 plus the Broncos. I'm giving them 4.
Still not enough.
That's 9. That doesn't even compare to the Giants and the Cowboys alone. Thank you. You want to go to? Okay, we'll go to the NFC. We'll go to the winningest divisions. So
I don't want to no more.
Packers. Shall I continue?
No.
The Packers have what? 3. The Packers have 3. Bears have 2. Vikings have 0. Lions have 0. There we go. Saints have 1.
I didn't even bother to count them in this.
Carolina has 0. Atlanta has 0.
Just go to the West. Just go to the West already. NFC West.
Okay. Seahawks have 1. Rams have 2. 3. I don't even know. I'll give the Rams 3. So that's what? 4.
Yeah, but Kurt
has 0. San Francisco has 5. So that is what? 1.
It's still not 11.
Thank you. That's not to mention how many Super Bowl appearances we have, because the Eagles went to 3 other Super Bowls before we finally won one.
That's y'all fault again.
We have the most Super Bowl appearances, and we have the most championships in the AFC East. So because we are trash, our whole division is tied for first place. That is crazy. We're still the winningest division in football history. I did my research before because everybody keeps coming at me, talking about the Eagles are trash. You're trash, blah, blah, blah. I need y'all to go to a Super Bowl first, fam, before you, unless you're from the NFC East, don't talk about the NFC East because your division, y'all don't even have a Super Bowl winner on each teams in your division. Tennessee Titans ain't won. Houston Texans ain't won. Jacksonville Jaguars ain't won.
Is the reason why we're top of the division, man.
So it's not directed at you. I just
yes, it is.
No, I was just directed at
whoever you've been talking to at the barbershop, man, you brought a lot of anger on me.
Very heated debate. But anyway, let's get into the playoffs. It was a very heated exchange, and you just so happy to take all those bullets. I just let the topper sing, but it wasn't
bulletproof. I think this is.
Another thing that happened, and then we'll wrap up. So after we talk about the playoff standings, everything, we'll wrap up football. But if any more teams get like a bunch of COVID tests, like a bunch of people test positive for COVID, like the Tennessee Titans did, and they can't make up games because you can't really make up games now because you would prolong the season.
Right.
A lot of the bye weeks have already happened. So they'll just add they'll add 8 teams into the playoffs. So instead of it being our 7, which is supposed to be the new normal,
right,
8 teams. So there won't be no bye week for the number 1 team. Everybody will be playing wild card weekend.
So I mean, think about this though. So, but I would assume it has to be on both sides. So if the Titans, for example, they can't be that one team that happens to get more COVID tests than normal. It had to balance out on the NFC as well, then, right?
Well, they were saying the way that they structured it, they said as like a majority rule. So the owners met and made that a majority rule. So as of right now, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of teams are coming down with the virus, and people like a whole team has to postpone the game. it's not really happening like that in the NFL anymore, as opposed to as it's still going on in college, because the ACC and the SEC is a toss up week to week whether teams play or don't play. But so as of right now, we're still gonna have 7 teams in the playoffs. But if we just so happen to see a lot of people catch the virus, then we're gonna go to 8 teams in the playoffs.
From what you're saying, it sounds like we're not gonna have a bye then. If that's the case.
Yeah, no. So there won't be no bye week for the number 1 overall. Which, I mean,
that still is the only one from what it looks like.
Look at last year's playoffs. Baltimore probably could have benefited from playing in Wild Card Weekend and having that bye, because they looked very. I mean, granted, what's the name? Tennessee Titans did look hot and they did gain momentum at the end of the season, but Baltimore looked really rusty in the first half, which I think is what attributed to Tennessee Titans getting so far out and ahead, to where Baltimore just couldn't come back because they're a run-based team.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you ain't got that much time to do your comebacks when you're a run-based team. That clock is always going. So,
but
that being said, looking at this roster, looking at the conference, do you see any team that can like come back? Looking at from 1 to 11, we'll just go off of that. Do you think
11 that can still make the playoffs?
Yeah, all right. In this case, let's just say from Baltimore to New England. You think they can still make it?
I do think Baltimore. Okay, no, actually, I think Baltimore and Miami are the only 2 teams that are in the hunt for me. Not because of their record, but because the way that they're playing and how it's progressing, how it's shaking out. I would love to see Baltimore in the playoffs. And I would also love to see Miami in the playoffs. Because if Baltimore doesn't make it, I feel like they're blowing up the team prematurely, because I don't think it's granted, I think the defense needs to get healthy for Baltimore, but also I think they just need to I think John Harbaugh needs to fire that offensive coordinator and bring in a whole new offensive coordinator that isn't so run heavy. I think they need to feature Lamar Jackson's actual throwing ability. And I think Lamar has gotten comfortable with running and not relying on his arm as much. So I think he needs to be that passer that we all know that he could be.
It makes sense. I get what you're talking about. The first thing that came to my mind was that when he was throwing the picks, because he was trusting his arm more than he was trusting his legs, I kind of see why that you want him to throw the ball. I mean, I'm take it back. I see why you want him to run the ball. At least that way he's not turning the ball over, because you don't really hear Lamar Jackson getting fumbles, but you hear him throwing picks. But I do agree with you. Their offense seemed to be stagnated way too many times. It's like looking at today's game. The game against the Tennessee Titans, I believe. You would have thought that Tennessee Titans must have had some great defense, because they seemed to know what was happening every time the Ravens offense came onto the field.
Exactly, which is what kind of leaked on the Rich Eisen show from they had, what's his name, Lamar having that conversation. Which, by the way, before we go any further, shout out to the Pat McAfee show. I entered the contest of McAfee's 1 million. I won $1,000 because they were giving away $125,000, and I was one of the winners to win $1,000. So shout out to them. I thought that was really cool. It was 35,000 people that entered. No, 35,000 to 53,000. It was a lot of people that entered, and I won. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, shameless plug.
Yeah, I'm making sure you don't forget it. That's all. Just saying.
I think the way that this playoffs is panning out, I do like if we were to go to the playoffs right now from this record alone, I mean, of course, the Chiefs and the Raiders are playing currently, so I don't know the score of that game because it's live, but that would be a really tough playoff matchup, because I do think out of all these playoffs teams, I think the Raiders and the Steelers are the closest teams that could actually beat the Chiefs. Now, they won't outscore the Chiefs, but I do like their defense, and I like the way how gritty they play. Mm-hmm. And then Buffalo and the Browns, I'm gonna have to take Buffalo. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, I'm with that wholeheartedly.
And then Colts and Titans, I mean, I just have the Colts having the Titans number. I just think that defense, because if you look at it, we haven't really seen Derrick Henry be Derrick Henry of last year and break a lot of big runs. It's been like kind of, I mean, he's had decent runs this year, but he hasn't had like 25-plus yard runs like he had last year, which really helped propel them to the playoffs and in the playoffs. And then, of course,
I'm about to say, like, you can ask Josh Norman, if Derrick Henry not running the same.
and then I think Pittsburgh is a ticking time bomb. I think they're waiting to self-implode. Like I was telling you off screen and off mic, they play 7 teams above 500 all season. I think they have the easiest schedule ever created in football. I mean, granted, before the season started, nobody thought that their schedule would pan out to be the easiest schedule, but I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by anything that they do. They're a run-based team. I mean, their defense is a run-stopping defense. They're not a pass defense. They stop the run. They're a run-fit team. And, I mean, fast-forwarding to the AFC Championship, so, I mean, you stop Kansas City from running the ball. Kansas City didn't really have a strong running game last year anyway. So I just see Kansas City winning the whole division. I'm winning the whole conference. I don't know why I stuttered, but yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
From what I saw with the Steelers, it's more or less that I just don't see them. I don't see them really doing that. I feel like they're gonna be one dimension when the playoff time comes. That tends to pigeonhole and make a team be like we just talked about earlier just now on the show. We talked about how the Ravens has stagnated offense. They show what they're gonna do all the time. And I feel like that same thing's gonna happen with the Steelers when playoff time comes. Now, will it happen before the conference championship? Maybe. Depends on who they play against. Because if say they play against, say this like we said, the conference maybe subject to change because there's still more games to be played, and we don't know. We do, from what we could tell, we seem to have a good idea who's going to be in the playoffs when time comes, but we just don't know where they're going to be seated. So looking at this, if they was to play against, let's say the Raiders, let's say they play against the Raiders, or even the Colts, if they play against those two teams, they will be met with some type of struggle. And not to mention that the Colts and the Steelers will play soon, I believe in like 2 weeks from now. You can see what I'm talking about when a good defense meets I'm gonna say a not battle-tested offense. That's the best way to call it.
So, I mean, only time will tell. The playoffs look nice. I would love to see Miami in the playoffs just to see that atmosphere in Miami. I mean, granted, they won't be home, but just to see Tua, see how he play as a rookie in the playoffs. Like, I just want to see the young dudes in the playoffs. I think it'd be pretty interesting.
It's been a while since we made the playoffs anyway.
This is where it gets shaky. The AFC is kind of locked and sealed for the most part, except for 8 and 9. Mm-hmm. And then how that pans out between
3,
4 to 9. Well, not really 4 to 9, but you get what I'm saying. This crap is up and down. It's forward, it's backwards. I think the NFC has a way harder time in the playoffs than the AFC does this year by far.
Yeah.
I know I just went on my whole Eagles rant, but it has been proven that when you do come to Philadelphia and play in the playoffs, especially with Doug Peterson being the head coach, we've only lost at home in the playoffs one time, which was last year to Seattle Seahawks at home. That's all I'm saying. So I know if the season finishes how it finishes, like how it is, and we just fast forward the games, and we get the 4th seed, that means that Tampa Bay has to come and play us. Granted, I think Tampa Bay is a better structured team as of now than we are, but if we upset Tampa Bay, like I've been telling everybody else, don't be surprised because the Eagles are known to pull a rabbit out of the hat and lose to a team like Cleveland today and then look really good once playoff time comes and ball out.
If y'all was to play Tampa, you better hope Carson Wentz better hope the O line holds up because the Buccaneers head coach is going to blitz heavy and bring the pressure. But like you said, if they do win, if the Eagles do win, then I'm gonna be the first one to eat my words because I wouldn't expect them to win that game.
Well, I'd rather play the Rams than play Tampa. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that one next.
I'd rather play the Rams.
All you gotta do is throw the ball. That's it.
I mean, we can double team Aaron Donald, and I mean,
that's only gonna work for so long.
It's only gonna work for so long. But who else do they really have in their defensive front seven that's solid? Like they have decent players, but who else do they have in that front seven that's really solid?
So like a game changer.
We have a better chance of beating the Rams than we do the Bucs because our defense is trash, and the Rams' offense has been trash since Sean McVay took over the team. I'm just saying. I know they had that historic season when they went to the Super Bowl. I was not impressed. I saw it coming a mile away. Jared Goff is not that great of a quarterback. And I know I sound very bitter today, but I'm going to just keep it real and keep it honest. He's not that great. He's not. Carson's not that amazing either. He has his ups and down moments. Neither is Dak Prescott. Whoop-de-doo. It was a draft class for quarterbacks that year is subpar so far. I'm going to keep it real.
I mean, only one of those quarterbacks has a championship.
And
show a little bit of modesty.
And each three of those quarterbacks I named were number one in the playoffs going in. I mean, number one in the division, number one in the conference going into the playoffs. Each three all went. Well, no, actually, no. Two of them went to the Super Bowl. One won, one didn't. One of them didn't even make it past the divisional round. Just saying.
They was glad to make the playoffs, I bet. We're going to leave the Cowboys alone for now. It's too
The Saints at number one, solid. I agree with that. Seahawks had to win that dogfight. And I mean, they had to win that dogfight versus the Cardinals because I'm going to give you your flowers. I'm going to give you your credit.
I told you.
Called it way before during this summer. You said that the Cardinals are going to be a team to look out for. You was like, the NFC West is going to be a tough division. Now, granted, I was looking at the offense and I'm like, I hear you, but like, I don't know how a second-year quarterback and a second-year head coach are going to work. Like, I think they'll work together, but I don't know how they'll pan out in such a rough division. And I wasn't too sure about the defensive pieces because I got a lot of pieces on defense, and I was aware, but I didn't know how they were going to gel. Granted, Patrick Peterson got ate alive by DK Metcalf on Thursday. Got completely manhandled. And granted, I know DK is a freak of nature, but I'm saying, like, he got burned. I saw a separation I've never seen from Patrick Peterson ever from college until now. Like, DK he beat him on the line, and DK's not a speedster on the line, if that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean.
He created separation from the ball being snapped, and I've never seen that out of Patrick Peterson. So that was shocking. But this Arizona team is a team to beat. I think I kind of like them sitting at the lower tier because I think they can upset some teams. And when I say teams, I mean multiple teams. I think Arizona, if they hit their stride late, can make it to the NFC Championship game.
I can see that too. Like I've been calling them my dark horse for a reason. So I believe that their whole team kind of gelled together. Everything, like, it made my prophecy come true once they got D-Hop. That sealed the deal for all my doubters, so to speak. That's a better way to call it.
It's just what sucks is I don't want them to be at number 7 because if they beat Seattle in the playoffs, then they have to play New Orleans, and I don't see them beating New Orleans. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
But if they somehow manage to be number 6 and lock up the number 6 spot, then essentially speaking, they might not have to play against New Orleans because if the Eagles win and
if the Eagles win, they have the issue with the Saints, and then vice versa. I'm gonna just say the Cardinals at number 6. The Cardinals knock off Green Bay. and then
Whoever number
they
7
play against Seattle again
off
to get to the conference.
number 2. Like
We said it's 7. Since the number 1 should have to buy the 2
number 1 has to buy, but number 1 plays the lowest team. So I'm trying to figure out a scenario to where the Cardinals and the Saints don't see each other.
No, it has to happen. It has to happen, man. It's not. And I'm not saying like, well, wait, there's no way how
to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Unless 5. The only way it won't happen is if they jump up to number 5.
Yeah.
So if Cardinals jump up to number 5, Tampa Bay slides to number 6, and then the Rams slide to number 7, then I mean, essentially.
But then the Eagles got to deal with that monster, not the Saints.
I mean, I'd rather play the Cardinals. I'd rather play any other team in the playoffs right now than play Tampa Bay, just because that offense can be scary, and Tom Brady can still be Tom Brady in the playoffs. And I just don't want to play him in the wild card weekend. Just same thing, like even though Russell Wilson, I know we were saying he was playing MVP caliber early in the season, he's not playing MVP caliber now. But I just don't want to see Russell Wilson in wild card weekend.
I feel like that's giving him more time to to not necessarily catch his breath, but like get his feet under him so he doesn't go into that divisional round rusty. Is that what you're saying?
But the way it's panning out, of course, Saints got the bye. Arizona plays Seattle. I think Arizona can beat Seattle in the playoffs and win based off of that
experience,
based off the 1-1 that they have and off the experience. Because if you think about it, if Kyler Murray, if the offensive lineman doesn't hold in the end zone, which he technically didn't start the hold in the end zone, but I don't know how that NFL rule plays. I don't know how that turned into a safety. I've never, in all my years of playing and watching football, never seen a hold start outside the end zone and then get pushed into the end zone, I guess, and then it'd be called a safety. It was just like a hold, and you go back a couple inches, but never it be called a safety. But whatever. If the safety doesn't happen, I don't think it's such a hard task to try to come back. And even though they almost still won, I think it's a rookie quarterback mistake. Not rookie. I think it's a young quarterback mistake and a young head coach mistake of taking shots at the end zone when you don't have to take a shot at the end zone when you're on your 40-yard line. You have I want to say 45 seconds left and a timeout or whatever. Whenever they got to like their own 40 or got to Seattle's 40. Still dink and dunk it down the field to get closer before you take a shot at the end zone. Don't try to run like a high-low concept with Isabel and then have him be bracketed, because that's what they did on that one play. It's easy for a defense to key in on it when everybody's taking shots at the end zone, and all we have to do is protect that, as opposed to sending people to the end zone and then leaving the middle of the field open. I think they'll figure it out. But yeah, I like the way this season's going. I like the way it's panning out. I don't think Chicago can make it now. I think we're pretty much sealed for the playoff race, to be honest. I would have had San Francisco up there higher, and I would still say that even though they're 11, they can make it. They got too many injuries, and I don't like Nick Mullins as their starting quarterback. I'm just keep it real.
Yeah, I don't.
They got too many injuries. That's honestly what plagued San Francisco, or else we would talk about how we could have potentially seen possibly 4 teams in the playoffs. I don't know.
That would have been wild. That they literally would have, like, everybody on that division would have to go 1-1 with each other, and they just sweep almost everybody outside the division. That's how close it would have to been.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you would have to hope for, I guess, Tampa Bay to be bad for them to have 4 teams make the playoffs. You would have to hope for 2 divisions to be, really all 3 divisions to be complete shit. But you just outbeat a team from one division. And so 2 divisions one division's really good, another one's subpar, and then the other 2 is shit.
Mm-hmm. Or you could, and that just also means that, like, those other 3 divisions within the NFC was just so shit because they only had the defensive winner, the division leader to make the playoffs, and then everybody on the AFC was had to be like these almost double-digit wins as of right now, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can transition on to college football now, if you want. I'm just pulling up the standings just so we can take a look. I do think. Oh wait, no, rankings, not standings. My bad. But I like the way college football is playing out. I don't think that even if Trevor Lawrence comes back, I think he's officially out of the Heisman race. I don't know why it took me so long to say that. I think he's officially out of the Heisman race due to him having COVID and due to so many of their games being postponed.
Yeah, it is the South.
Because we see more from the little bit of film that we got from Justin Fields and from all these other players as opposed to Clemson. And honestly, I don't want to see Clemson at number 4. I want to see Notre Dame beat Clemson again in the ACC championship. And I want to see the likes of a Cincinnati or a BYU make it. Because I'm tired of – I understand they're saying that the college football playoffs is supposed to be for all 10 conferences. But what we've seen is the Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC.
That's it.
That's always been a sprinkle of Pac-12 randomly, occasionally.
And like you could say who those teams were that actually had a chance to make it. It was either Washington, Oregon. Stanford had a chance to make it, but they didn't make it that year. But it's been those only 2 teams from the Pac-12 that actually changed.
When it first started, when the playoffs first started, USC barely missed it. Remember that year? The last year we won the Rose Bowl.
I remember.
We missed the playoffs, and that was mainly due to strength of schedule, basically. So it's like, I just want to see another team that we don't get to see make it, and I like this Cincinnati team, and I like this BYU team. They're gritty, they fight, they're dogs. Like, I want to see them in these big games, and I don't want to see them in a bowl game. Like, here's my thing. I don't want to see either one of these 2 teams. Granted, both of these 2 teams can't make it because who's going to beat Alabama and who's going to beat Ohio State and knock them out of the playoff race completely? Like, they would have to get 2 losses for them to be knocked completely out of the playoff race, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But I want to see one of these 2 teams go undefeated and make the college football playoffs, because what's the point of us even trying to make the college football playoffs if a team like Cincinnati or BYU, who has a pretty decent strength of schedule, granted their strength of schedule isn't as hard as these other teams, but look at their conference that they're in. Like, they can't help that they're in the conference.
American, I think. Cincinnati's in the either the USA or the All-American. I can't remember right now.
They're in the
You were just looking at it. If you go to the standings.
They're in the American Athletic, and then BYU is in. I'm trying to think, what conference are they in? Oh, they're independent. So, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the strength of conference ain't really all that. But I mean, like, if you look at the SEC, for example, you always got those 2 teams, like 2 teams from that conference that's buying about 2 positions within the playoffs. So, looking at it now from the AP top 25, depending on who Alabama's going to play in that conference championship depends on whether or not Cincinnati can stay undefeated and who they knock off, so they can stay in it. Because I do see one of those Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Clemson. I do see them losing one more time. I don't know to who. I can't tell you the team yet, but I do see them losing one more time. You don't really see that many. You don't really see undefeated teams that many times. Because
essentially, if Clemson wins in the ACC championship game, then what we are looking at for the top 4 is locked up and it's sealed. Which, honestly, I think they should extend it from 4 to, I don't know, do like an 8 or something. I don't know how you want to do it, but do something.
Yeah, because if you said 6, then 2 teams gonna have to get a bye. The top 2 teams gonna have to get a bye. But I prefer 8.
I mean, you could do
That's more games. I prefer 8.
do something because this sucks. Like, see, I'm not saying that Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Clemson in the playoffs isn't an interesting playoffs. It's an interesting playoffs to watch. Because even if
Saban gets mad and like just
flips,
dunks a team.
like if Clemson beats Notre Dame, then Clemson and Notre Dame just flip. Actually, no, not really. Ohio State will move up, and then
Notre Dame goes to 4.
it'll be Notre Dame at 4, Clemson at 3. So then we'll see Alabama playing Notre Dame. That'll be interesting to see. And then we see Ohio State play Clemson. So don't get me wrong, it'll be interesting, but it's just like I don't know. I just want more from college football.
I don't know how much interesting you think that game gonna be if Alabama plays Notre Dame. I'm not saying it's gonna be a blowout, but it will be an unfair game, like how it usually is when Alabama plays anybody in the playoffs, at least in the first
round. True. So do we want to get? I mean, the NBA news has been real heavy. I guess I can stop sharing now. But I guess as of right now, so just talk about the Lakers. Rondo's not on the Lakers anymore. He's on Atlanta. Dwight Howard is in Philadelphia or Washington. I think Philadelphia.
Just so we clear, saw that coming.
Veterans minimum. Even though he said he wanted to get paid, now he's getting a veterans minimum.
He wasn't gonna get paid.
I know, but I wanted to see him get paid because he played pretty good.
He did play pretty good.
So we got rid of all of our big men, honestly. We got rid of JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is now on Cleveland. And in return, we got rid of JaVale McGee and a second-round pick from some draft. Don't remember which draft.
Yeah.
And we got back 2 scrub players that I don't really care about and Marc Gasol. So now the Lakers have Marc Gasol. We also picked up Wesley Matthews, Montrezl Harrell, which I'm excited about, and Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder was okay. Montrezl Harrell I like. Marc Gasol is solid. So now the Lakers starting 5 would be Dennis, KCP, Bron, AD, and Marc Gasol.
1 through 5, like you just said, yeah. I like that team.
And Montrez off the bench. Montrez first off the bench, and then Wesley Matthews second off the bench.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah, we also got Horton Tucker. I don't know how well he's going to do, though.
What'd you say?
They also have the rookie. I don't know if he's a rookie now, but this is probably his first year. But Talon Horton Tucker, who they've been talking about as a really good player within their scrimmages and stuff. So depending on how well he performs in this season, is going to really show like were they really lying or were they really telling the truth about kid.
He played a little bit before the bubble really kicked off, and they were doing like their scrimmages during the bubble. We got to see him play because essentially it was like preseason all over again.
Yeah,
he played. He didn't really play a little bit. He didn't really play a lot in the beginning couple rounds. But as we got deeper in the playoffs, he started playing more, and he was actually playing pretty good. So I do like him. We still have Alex Caruso, so I'm not sure how he plays into it. I know you hate him. Oh, well, get over it. He's still there, so he's probably going to be maybe the official 6th man, or maybe him and KCP rotate and alternate starting at the 2 guard like they have been before.
Have him be more of a defensive. Like if they don't want LeBron covering them all the game. Makes sense.
Defensively, I think this might be the best we've looked defensively.
I can agree with that.
With the addition of Montrezl Harrell, I think defensively we're the best defensive team. We were already the best defensive team in basketball, but now with Montrezl Harrell, we are the best defensive team in basketball.
Yeah, we basically just re-upped. I see what you mean.
Oh, I forgot. We got rid of Danny Green. Danny Green went somewhere.
I think he was part of that trade to get either not that trade, but he was part of that deal that to get.
Yeah. He wasn't part of that deal.
It was a 3-team trade. That's why.
Because we gave away a first-round draft pick.
Oh, Philly. I think it's where he went to.
No, I think he ended up in Philly. We gave him to OKC. We gave away him and a first-round draft pick to OKC for Dennis Schroeder. Mm-hmm. Which now put OKC at 16 first-round draft picks before this draft that just happened.
Yeah, we gave up the 28th pick, which was Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
And then
He's a good player. He's gonna be a decent player.
From OKC to some other team now, because OKC wasn't gonna keep him anyway. OKC shipped him somewhere else. Honestly, looking back on it, this year's draft was kind of like last year's draft. I only really cared about the first 3 picks.
Were you surprised by the
RJ Barrett hasn't really showed. I was just talking to a coworker about this earlier today. RJ Barrett ain't really showed me anything for the Knicks anyway. But I only really care about Wiseman, Melo, and Anthony Edwards, because those are the only 3 that I think are going to make a splash immediately. I just feel bad for Melo because, like we said with Chris, he's gonna die in Charlotte, and I guess Charlotte tried to, give him some help by getting Gordon Hayward. Don't know how much help that is because he can't play a full season. Because he's left Utah, he hasn't been able to play a full season. So good luck with that, Mike. I mean, you got money, you're a billionaire, so whatever.
Have fun with that.
That's another thing I wanted to say. I was going to have Golden State be the number 2 team overall, but without Klay Thompson, I don't see them being number 2 overall.
I don't even see them being
scratching and clawing.
I don't even see them being number 5, bro. They're not making past 5.
They're scratching and clawing for a bottom tier playoff spot now because you need Klay Thompson, and he re-injured his other Achilles, so now he's out for the season, which sucks because I wanted to see how strong the West was with a fully revamped Warriors team, but now we won't be able to see that.
I know what you mean. Because it's like I just wanted to see how well the Splash Brothers can they actually do it without KD. Now, granted, they did do it without KD when they had Harrison Barnes at the 3, but they don't have that no more. That's scrapped. They got rid of him that year when KD came. But it's going to be odd. It's not going to be odd. It's still going to be a tight race within the Western Conference. You still got Portland, you still got Denver, you still got Utah, you still got the other team in LA. That's just how it's going to be. But
as another one, the Pacific Division for the Western Conference is really solid now that Chris Paul is on
team in Arizona.
Phoenix is now on the Phoenix Suns. So there's that. And if they play like how they were playing in the bubble, Phoenix might actually be pretty decent. What's another one? John Wall wants out of Washington. Not surprised.
He should have told Bradley Beal. He should have told him before that, man.
Bradley Beal.
The Lakers would have made an effort to get him.
I mean, granted, I don't think the Lakers have salary cap to get Bradley Beal now.
No.
Bradley can still leave. Houston. Huh?
I said that ship is sailed. That Bradley Beal ship has sailed.
Houston blew up their franchise. Russ said, I want out. I can't play with James. I can't play with Mike D'Antoni. This
without Mike D'Antoni.
Sucks. It all sucks. So Russ wants out. We still haven't seen where Russ is going officially. We still haven't seen where James Harden is going officially, but he wants to go to Brooklyn. Don't know how he's going to go from being the number 1 option to the number 3 option.
Number 2, Kyrie going to have to facilitate.
Kyrie
if they want to work, if they want that team to work, Kyrie's going to have to facilitate.
I understand that, but Kyrie's not taking number 3 to James Harden. Kyrie is Kyrie's not a better scorer than James Harden. Kyrie's better in the clutch than James Harden.
Yeah,
Kyrie's a better offensive teammate than James Harden. Kyrie's a better defensive player than James Harden. You can look this all up.
You're not wrong. You're not saying nothing wrong yet.
I understand he's going to get his points. But in order for them, so with him trying to get his points, they have to still try to run the offense through Kevin Durant and through Kyrie and have James Harden be a catch and shoot player, which I don't see how it works. Because James Harden and Kyrie aren't going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to turn into an argumentative locker room. It's going to be some fists flown, and we're going to hear rumors about some fists flown, but not really. And Kyrie is going to pack his things, and he's going to leave like he left in Cleveland. Because when Kyrie's not happy, He lets it be known, and he gets the hell out of town. I don't know where my chapstick went, but I dropped it.
You don't
But
need it.
anyway, he's gonna get out of town, and then it's just going to be James Harden and Kevin Durant, and that's going to turn into James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and then one of them is going to be like, "Hey, can't play with him
Okay.
unless he changes his playing style." Unless James Harden is willing to change up his entire playing style and play team-oriented basketball.
I mean, granted, the only one on that team that has a ring is KD. I'm not saying everybody should follow KD's mentality, but they should.
Kyrie doesn't have a ring?
I mean, did he actually contribute, or did LeBron do all the work?
I know you're not about to disrespect Kyrie. Without Kyrie, there is no championship in 2016.
They don't make it, true, but when the time came, who got hurt and didn't show up?
Who hit the clutch shots?
Who got hurt and didn't
All
show
the
up?
clutch shots. Kyrie was hurt before the playoffs, which is why he didn't make the All-Star team that year. Do we forget? Yeah, and so once they made the playoffs and once they made the finals, who knocked down Steph Curry?
But all I'm saying is LeBron. I'm not even a LeBron fan. I'm giving him credit for that. He makes sure the team got there. So Kyrie can come in and not be what you gonna say, man? What are you gonna say? You making that face? Making that face like
no. It's cool. It's cool. I just want because I didn't know you were going to swing this way, but it's fine. We can debate about it. I just don't see how LeBron can win without Kyrie. I don't see how they can win without each other. They needed each other, and I don't understand how LeBron fans act like LeBron won that championship by himself, because without Kyrie, he's not winning. He's not winning a single game. Clearly, as you saw, the next time he made the championship, he didn't win a single game without Kyrie. They got close. They made it to overtime, and then they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
Therefore, no Kyrie clutch shots. You don't have that championship. Because I don't understand.
Go ahead.
When has LeBron ever been clutch from beyond the arc in clutch moments? From beyond the arc.
I'm saying never. You happy?
So how the hell did we just forget? Okay.
Well, I'm saying from the first round to the conference championship, LeBron did what he needed to be done. But,
of course. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the finals, Kyrie took his game to another level. That's all I'm saying. You can still, granted, I've been arguing since that championship happened that Kyrie should have won Finals MVP. But I understand Finals MVP isn't based off of what you do in the finals. Apparently, when LeBron's playing, it's based off of what you do the whole season up until the finals. Cool. Whatever. Because Anthony Davis should have won Finals MVP this year, but he didn't. Whatever.
Brother should have won Defensive Player of the Year, but we're going to let that go too.
Cool. I guess that's how it works when LeBron is in the finals. But what I'm saying is Kyrie had to elevate in the finals so they can win that championship, and he did so.
Yeah, just like how Ray Allen elevated the Miami Heat so they can win that championship. I know what you mean. All I'm saying is LeBron had to do what needs to be done with those first 3 rounds. That way Kyrie can come in and do what he's supposed to do. And he did.
So, okay.
I'm just mad at the fact that I hate it when the time comes. This is why I should generally do not like Chris Paul when playoff time comes, because he tends to either shy away or get hurt. Happens almost every year. He always disappears. That's why I don't consider him to be that good when the playoff time comes. And yet I thought the same thing at first with Kyrie. He disappeared that year. I had high hopes for him, but he didn't. When the time came, he showed up. I was just wanted to see that at the beginning, so I can at least vouch for bro during those first three playoff series. That was it. I was disappointed. That's what you want me to say? I was disappointed.
Okay. And then
I was disappointed in Uncle Drew.
On the Steve Nash coached led team that just sounds this is bad. This is bad. This is really bad. Because if James Harden comes there, this team's gonna run a freaking muck. Who takes the final shot? Kevin, Kyrie, or James?
Damn. I'm not giving that to KD. He gonna get nervous. I'll give it to Kyrie or James. But that's the issue though.
I said the complete opposite. I have the complete opposite. I think it should go Kevin, Kyrie, then James. James hasn't hit a single clutch shot I've ever seen. I've never seen him hit a clutch shot in my life. Not clutch, go ahead, win it all moment.
I'm just worried about having him on the court when, say, if it's tied and your opponent has the ball. I'm just worried about that.
And then what happens to Karis LeVert? Like, does he just come off the bench now? Or do you think like before?
I would assume he gonna have to be part of that trade if the Nets want to get James Harden, they're gonna have to get rid of him as well.
You're right.
They're gonna have to give up the farm because it's gonna cost a lot to get all three.
That's an ugly big three. If that big three happens, I'm just saying, like.
This is why you usually hear about big threes when like at least one or two of them still on a rookie contract, so you can afford everybody.
That's true.
Like the Celtics when like everybody's all old and ready to retire. But I digress.
True. So do we want to go into? Are we done with talking about the NBA and where we're currently standing at? Even though it starts December 22nd, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah. Congratulations, Jason Tatum. He got the bag, multi-year contract, max. Donovan Mitchell received a bag, got a multi-year contract. That's a team I kind of hope to be good. Surprisingly, I kind of want Utah to be good.
Last one, Victor Oladipo wants out of Indiana. Rumor has it, and rumor has it he was even talking to the Knicks, saying, "Hey, can I be there? Can I be down?" I don't know how that works with RJ Barrett because they play the same position.
RJ Barrett gonna have to learn from Oladipo. At least that way he can
play the three. RJ gonna have to learn how to play the three.
And he's a little short and small. He's shorter than an average guard. I mean, shorter than average guard. He's shorter than an average small forward. So like, I'm just picturing him.
Victor Oladipo, RJ, like, come on now. I mean, if he goes to the Knicks, either RJ comes off the bench or he gonna have to learn how to play the damn three.
Regardless, you're gonna have to if that happens.
Because Victor Oladipo is like a slasher, like two.
They play similar style.
Unless you move Victor to the point guard. Unless you move Victor Oladipo to point guard.
That don't sound like that's gonna work. It's like that's not his natural position. Even when he was at, I'm gonna say Indiana, he never end point. Never.
Him and Yogi Ferrell, I hated them too in Indiana. I hated them too in Indiana. Oh my god. And Yogi Ferrell didn't really pan out in the league like he was supposed to because he was this dominant point guard. And who was their big man? There was like another player on their team.
The first thing that came to my mind was a Plumlee, but he played at Duke, so I have no idea.
Most of them played at Duke. I'm trying to think. It was some big guy though. You remember?
Not really, because the Kentucky usually beat them down whenever they played. They never played. Take it back.
I'm trying to think. Anyway, it don't matter.
I can't even tell you because he must not have been that good.
Nah, not really. On the college basketball, so we have the official rankings. They start this week or next week? No, next week. They start next week.
I know it was a couple of days. I don't know.
Yeah. And we have Gonzaga at number 1, Baylor at number 2, Villanova at number 3, Virginia at number 4, Iowa at number 5, Kansas at number 6, Wisconsin at number 7, Illinois at number 8, Duke at number 9, and Kentucky rounding out the top 10.
I looked at their roster. Gonzaga's gonna. I didn't really see like a star. I see their team as like the Butler team that won the championship when they had Gordon Hayward. They may not have like that quote unquote superstar like how first year freshmen be, but they're gonna play like I could tell they're gonna just play like good team ball and they're gonna win like that. And plus, I don't assume their strength of conference is always that great anyway. There's subject to change.
I don't remember if BYU was senior heavy last year, but if BYU was senior heavy, I can say how they don't make the top 10. If they weren't senior heavy, how is BYU not in the top 10? because
Same.
they were a really solid team.
But they're not. But they're not even like the top 10. I see what you mean.
Like they were, I think, third or second when the conferences broke down for March Madness. They were like third or second, something like that. And now,
Or March Madness got canceled. Yes, know what you mean.
yeah. So this year for college basketball is going to be interesting only because I think a lot of people are hungry. I think a lot of people couldn't showcase their talent. A lot of the younger players couldn't really showcase their talent. And so I think this is going to be really interesting. Can't wait to watch college basketball. I think we could have a whole college basketball segment once it really starts on this show because that's just how passionate me and you are about it.
I can't wait.
And drum roll, the March Madness tournament. I'm not sure about the women's. I haven't heard about the women's. I'll keep updated on the women's team. But I do know that the Baylor Bears, the Baylor Lady Bears, who were the national champs 2 years ago in 2019, they are now number 4 going into this season. I think UConn's number 1. I think Baylor's number 4. I can't remember who number 2 and number. I think Notre Dame might be 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Usually up there. Notre Dame's usually up there.
I want to say
Oregon usually has a good squad as well.
I can look it up. I want to say it's South Carolina, but anyway,
South Carolina too.
Men's college basketball tournament, March Madness is going to be held completely from 72 teams, which go down to 64, all the way through the Final Four is going to be completely held in Indiana. Any thoughts?
It's going to be crowded on them floors. They're going to be bunked up. Them hotel floors is going to be crowded. It's like I see it working, having all 72 teams. The only issue is like you cannot have no more than I use that floor as an example. So you can't have no more than 24 people for each team. You can't bring no more than that. That's your players, that's your coaches, that's your medical staff, that's it. You can't bring no more than 24. 24 people can't come.
Okay, so real quick. So it's South Carolina number 1. So we were right about that. Stanford is number 2.
I knew it was a team from the Pac-12. I said Oregon.
Team that isn't usually in the top 4. Stanford's number 2. UConn's number 3. Baylor's number 4. Louisville is number 5. Mississippi State is number 6. Arizona's number 7. That's a new one.
It was easy.
North Carolina State is number 8. UCLA is number 9. And Oregon rounds out the top 10.
It's been a while since you heard good things about UCLA basketball. Women's basketball.
I knew Oregon was solid. I didn't know UCLA reloaded like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's surprising. Now, will they act? Well, time will tell within like the next. I'm gonna say 2 weeks because you tend to get an idea of who's really the star on each team and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So we gonna tell who's serious about making that next step to the pros, but will they be able to pan out to win in March Madness? That's gonna take a while.
Yeah. Before I know because there's not a whole lot to talk about college basketball, men or women's. Before we wrap it up, though, I did come across this interesting statistic. About 90% of women's college basketball players before they get drafted, or actually, no, not before they get drafted. I think they said about almost 90% of the WNBA players have college degrees, have their bachelor's degree. Because a lot of the women who go and play college basketball stay all 4 years, or they get drafted their junior year and then still finish online for their senior year while they're playing in the WNBA. So I just want to give a hand clap and a round of applause to the ladies because that is amazing. You don't really see a whole lot of that in other professional sports, especially when you can be a one-and-done talent. It's really hard to stay when you got all this attractive money coming at you and sponsorships and everything for all these women to have their college degrees. So I think that's an amazing thing. I think we can end on that note, end on a bright note. This is a really good podcast. Hopefully we won't take as long in between and have so much news to talk about. Oh, last thing, Conor McGregor signed off. He's doing 257. Am I right? Yes. Yeah. Starting next year in January.
Yeah, that's a sad part, but yeah.
Okay, see, I'm paying attention.
You pay attention to the ones you care about. Don't count. Right in your diversity. There's more strikers out there, man.
It's a slow progress. I'm progressing. It's slow, very slow.
Fair enough.
Which I think is still going to be in Fight Island.
Yeah, nobody wants to go back to Vegas no more, which is weird, but it is what it is.
I wonder, once this whole virus thing goes away next year, the year after that, whenever it goes away, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be gone completely with by end of 2021, 2022. Will they still keep the Fight Island? Will that just be the destination spot and they fly fans out, or will they go back to Vegas to where it's more local and people can actually go?
Well,
or will they pick a different spot than Vegas? Will they go to like different play areas like Miami? Will they go to New York? Just saying.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But I see what you're doing, because that would be nice. Because you give back to all the fans and not just for the fighters, the fight lovers, so to speak. The fight enthusiasts that only go to Vegas. That would be nice to see somewhere different. But if it was to go back to Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, you would see like an increase in ticket prices. You would see an increase in like travel fare, because you are now appealing to what's going on in the Abu Dhabi market, and they loaded over there. That 1% got some money to spend. So I wouldn't see why not. I mean, shit, they can pull up to the arena with a Rolls Royce. Never mind, that's not their style. They can pull up to with a McLaren. That's more their speed. Miami, yeah, makes sense. New York, possible.
I think
maybe
great for UFC. I'm just saying. I think the Miami night, even though I've never been to Miami, I think the Miami nightlife and what we're told and what we see, or fight night, I think would be massive.
Oh yeah, it's gonna generate buzz, because you also got to think everybody there. Miami loves to party, but they love the fights too. It's a different story. It's a different story than I'm gonna use California for example, because we're more of a party life. We're more about the lights and glamour. But you have multiple diversities. You have the Puerto Rican and Cuban, which is very close to Miami. They do like to travel. So there's more and more markets that can also apply to what's going on in Miami for the UFC arenas.
True. Well,
that's why I picked New York at first. It would be nice to see that.
It'd be nice to see that too. We'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully soon. You guys stay blessed, and I don't know how to really wrap this out.
I got you. So we know how we were just talking about for all our women, all the ladies that get their degrees once they make it to the WNBA.
Okay.
Go watch Love and Basketball. Learn something right there.
That's trash.
That note, I got y'all. I gave y'all some homework to do.
That's trash.
You're not about to shit on my childhood friend. Now, my name is Vincent Lovett. This is Malik Patterson. We're signing off. Catch us again next time on episode in the description. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. And stay blessed, y'all.